Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Today we have a wonderful event lined up for you to tell you all about the Oceania Celiac Cruise for 2026. So I'm Connie Saunders, and I am proud to be here with Maureen Basie and Steve Tubman. Maureen is with Celiac Cruise, of course, and Steve Tubman is the Strategic Account Manager for Oceania Cruises. Hello, everyone.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here, everyone, and we're going to jump right in. So this 2025 is going to be our very first Oceania Cruises sailing, and the 2026 one that we're talking about now will be our second cruise on Oceania Cruises, and it's going to be exciting because we have a lot to share.
I'll grab this one. So, welcome, everybody. My name is Maureen, and for those of you who have not sailed with us before or heard a little bit about Celiac Cruise and kind of how this all came to be, I think it's important for people to know from the beginning that this is personal. My son was the first of many to be diagnosed with celiac disease back in 2016. And we realized very, very quickly the challenges that came along. One with just eating outside of your home, but then adding travel to it. So pretty quickly, we I don't know, found a way that there had to be an easier way for all of us to be able to get out there and be on vacation and focus on vacation instead of constantly being preoccupied with what you're going to put in your mouth. So that was kind of the why of Celiac Cruise. We had our very first sailing in January of 2020. We're very proud to say, show you this on the next slide, but we just finished our 25th cruise. So I think, those emotions that my family was experiencing was just a testament to how many of us were feeling the same way. So we want to give you a vacation back, a vacation, which is truly what a vacation means. So that is the why, but I think it's always important for people to know that, this is a story. This is a story of my family, and that's why we are here today. So there they are. Many, as you know, many of you have sailed with us on Royal Caribbean before, been an amazing partner from day one. That was our very first cruise in January of 2020. We've also sailed on the rivers with AMA Waterways, and those are full ship charters. So many of you have done those as well. And we are so excited to kick off our first cruise this fall with Oceania. So yes.
And a housekeeping note, and I notice a lot of you are already doing this. If you have any questions, put them in the chat and we'll answer them at the end. We have some questions already going in the chat, so that's great. And as everybody knows, this will be recorded and we're going to be sending it out to everyone tomorrow. So, and posting it on the website and everything. So sorry about the housekeeping notes, but there we go.
Actually, put your questions in the Q&A. See, there's two little areas there. We've got a chat, but then there's a Q&A box too. So just easier for us to be able to organize the questions as they come in into different areas. So you've got the chat, which many of you are saying hi and telling us where you're from, but the questions, throw those in the Q&A box, please. Thank you.
Sorry.
All good.
Yes. So here's the beautiful Oceania Vista sailing. She's gorgeous. Currently, she's their newest ship. They have a new one coming out soon, right, Steve?
Well, the new one actually just started to set sail. It just did. It's like, I guess you'd say it's kind of like its inaugural voyage. Right out of the dry dock in Europe, it did a quick Mediterranean voyage to kind of test the waters. But yes, the Vista is gorgeous. Released in October of 2023. And it had been quite some time since Oceania had come out with a new ship, since 2012, actually, with the Riviera. So a lot of our longtime guests were very excited about the Vista. And I've been in the industry, as you know, for quite some time now. My father's been in the industry for over 40 years. I've been sailing on cruises my whole life. But the Vista and the Allura, these two sister ships, are gorgeous. The Vista, we've had such tremendously great reviews so far. Beautiful, beautiful ship. I mean, it's just great that we can have this Celiac Cruise experience on one of the best ships in the world.
Yes. And here's our itinerary for 2026. This is going to be a beautiful fall foliage trip from New York to Montreal. And the coolest thing, I think, besides the most incredible ports of call, is that October 14th when we're going to be cruising the St. Lawrence River. So a lot of other cruises go like New York to Sydney or Halifax or St. John and back, but this one goes one way. So we'll start in New York, we'll end in Montreal. It is a cruise that requires a passport because you do have to you'll need to get home from Montreal. So it's a one way. And the reason why we did that is because the itinerary hits such amazing, amazing ports. Steve, you want to go over this?
I mean, we just have such great group amenities with this celiac group that we put together. Prepaid gratuities are, of course, included. You know, we don't want our guests to stress out about that. The Essentially with Oceania Cruises, the only things we don't include would be shore excursions or the alcohol, but we've included the full premium beverage package for the entire group. So you can simply walk up to the bar and order a wonderful cocktail, top shelf liquors, you know, maybe not Remy Martin or Louis the 13th, for example, but Tito's, Belvedere, all the other top shelf liquors you can think of would be included. Um, you know, also the 30 world-class wines, beer, and champagne, that's all included as well. We have all the specialty dining included, and we're doing all of this in Jacques, which is a wonderful restaurant. We'll talk about it in a little bit.
Yeah.
And you guys are delivering gluten-free beer. I think it's with your partnership with the Colorado Brewery.
Yes, Holidaily. Yes.
Right. So great options. You know, this is essentially the cruise line for foodies. It's the hallmark of our brand. We invest very heavily into the ingredients of our food, and we want to take extra special care of our celiac disease members and guests.
Thank you. So, oh my gosh, what beautiful, beautiful ports of call. As you can see, we go all the way from New York, Newport, Boston, Bay of Fundy, Halifax. I mean, these are just gorgeous, gorgeous ports of call. And in each port of call, you can just get off and walk around, or you can do an organized excursion. The great thing about Oceania is they also let people take food off the ship and for lunches if they need a gluten-free meal. So that's incredible that we can do that here. Day 7 is Sydney, then another Corner Brook, then my favorite, cruising the St. Lawrence River, Saguenay, which is amazing, Quebec City, which is just spectacular, and then finally Montreal. And Montreal has a great gluten-free dining scene there, so lots of dedicated places. Maureen?
Yes, we definitely will be doing what we normally do, Celiac Cruise Standard, and many of these places I live in the Northeast, so I've been lucky enough to visit. But some of these destinations that we haven't, we'll be creating gluten-free guides for people to make sure you're able to experience that, local cultural scene. I mean, obviously Boston is an amazing place, but, we hope to maybe even coordinate some group tours in these places. So stay tuned.
And our home away from home, our restaurant on board the ship is going to be Jacques, which is, I'll let you talk about it, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, it was originally Ember. That's what we're doing for our upcoming voyage. But we were doing Ember, and Ember was a great trial run at a Americana, if you will. We had really good reviews for Ember on this trial voyage, on these trial voyages with the Vista, but a lot of our longtime guests, they really miss Jacques. And Jacques Pepin is one of the world-renowned famous headmaster chefs. You know, he's brought that culinary experience to Oceania that would some say would rival that of onshore Michelin star quality restaurants. And a lot of our longtime guests are very happy to have Jacques back. It's wonderful food. We're essentially shutting down Jacques for the voyage just for our group. So we're going to have zero cross contamination. I mean, this is going to be as protected as we can be for our guests. I'm not 100% sure how we set up the dining experience, Connie. Is it going to be breakfast, lunch, dinner? We might
Yes.
also have some late night snacks, gluten-free, celiac-free options.
Yes.
Up to
So
midnight.
room service is going to be coming from this restaurant so that it's dedicated gluten-free. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner will be served in here. And the great thing is they're going to sprinkle menu items from all the specialty restaurants gluten-free into our dedicated gluten-free dining room. So everything will be prepared in our dedicated gluten-free kitchen. which they call a galley on a ship. And so, it's going to be great. But, room service is even going to be coming out of here. So it'll be top notch for sure. Definitely those that are into food, this is your kind of cruise.
Hmm.
Polo Grill is the steakhouse, of course, and then Toscana is the Italian, and then Red Ginger is my favorite. That's the entrees from there are all Asian infused, so that makes it really nice to be able to have all of those from a dedicated gluten-free restaurant. So
It's going to be wonderful.
So just a little bit of a review of, how we do this. So how do we execute 25 cruises safely and, holding up to the standards of each individual cruise line? Well, there's a lot that goes into it long before we even come on these webinars. So we have been planning for a very long time with Oceania, obviously in preparation for our October cruise, but we always do a site inspection. So all of the galleys and venues are reviewed to ensure that we're able to execute these things safely. We're talking blueprints, looking at where things are and, coordination to galleys, and some things are moved on certain ships. So to say they take it seriously is an understatement. So, a site inspection is the first step. Then we just kind of explain the overall of what, celiac disease is. Many of you are here, whether loved one, this is you yourself. We know this is not necessarily a choice. So we are very, very proud to review the specifics. And we also use that as an opportunity to just educate people on celiac disease overall, spread the love so people know moving forward what this is all about. We look into all the different ports of call to ensure, if there is a dedicated gluten-free place, we will find it to make sure our guests have the opportunity to be able to explore those places when they leave the ship. We look at all the different menus and review to ensure that, again, all those ingredients are 100% gluten-free. Nothing sneaks in. We review all of the different suppliers. So, obviously making sure we have a plethora of products as opposed to just utilizing one particular brand. So, I've been so impressed with Oceania and their entire team, how you just can tell they care. There's been so many calls, so much time spent just really making sure that a lot of this stuff is up to their quality. So I've seen some of the questions, and many of you are asking, is this really going to be gluten-free, not just vegan? And when I tell you, it is that entire menu that you would traditionally get on an Oceania ship will be transformed and made gluten-free. So we're not talking vegan, gluten-free. There will be vegan options, mind you, but this is ensuring our guests get the complete experience that you would traditionally get on these amazing ships. So all of those things go through, the details. So we're talking about the room service operation, how that's going to take place to ensure, again, we can have room service. So you can make a phone call and know that your room service is coming from our dedicated galley and not having to worry about that cross contact. So that's the detail and depth of what is done long before we join you on this Wednesday afternoon, I think it is. Yes. So just so you all know that that's how we do this.
Yes, Maureen and I recently sailed with our spouses, and we got to experience the Vista personally. And we had some meetings while we were on board, and we've had lots of calls and meetings since. But it was so important that they said, we want the Celiac Cruise guests to experience just like every other guest on board, even down to how we're going to manage tea time. So, I mean, every little detail has been thought through and rethought through, and trust me, your best interest is at heart. So, very important part of what we do.
So again, going back to the safety of how this happens. Obviously, Oceania is known for their food. So these chefs are top notch as is already. We will come on board prior to, we do a pre-sale. And that's when celiac disease specific training is done in coordination with the Celiac Disease Foundation. They work collectively with us. We go through the galley, we do full inspections. All the gluten is removed from our galley. Deep, 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 deep. Can I say deep any more times? Cleaning is done to ensure, again, there's no traces of gluten in that galley. Benefits of cruise ships, we have stainless steel we're working with. So that is one thing that also kind of helps our operation from the get-go. So that entire galley is restocked with gluten-free ingredients. And then, I touched on this before, but the inclusiveness to ensure, we aren't having a lesser of an experience. So we're having that same food, that same quality food that everyone else on the ship is getting. So that's how it works.
And as Steve mentioned, it's Michelin star quality. The galleys are, fully stocked with amazing gluten-free food, and the quality of the chefs and the quality of their experience and the quality of the ingredients makes them known to be the most incredible food.
It's so true. I
Yes.
mean, we have some of the best guest to staff ratios in the industry already. It's essentially for every 1.5 guests, there's a staff member. But my favorite statistic, as you know, Connie, is for every 10 guests, there's one chef on board our ships. It's kind of unheard of in the industry. It just really shows you how much we truly care about the culinary experience.
Yes. And it's delicious. We know. We know personally. And there's the best culinary team. You want to talk about the gentleman here in the middle?
Yeah, that is the world-renowned famous headmaster chef Jacques Pepin. You know, he's kind of helping us more on a consultative basis nowadays. He's getting a little bit up there in age, but we love him to death. He loves Oceania. He's super thrilled that we're bringing his restaurant back for the Vista, especially for this voyage. He's kind of handed down the reins to Eric Barale, who's actually pictured to his left, and Alexis Qualretti, who's not pictured in this one. But there are new culinary executive directors. They've really kept his culinary experience alive. And his daughter, actually, Jacques Pepin's daughter, still works with us as well. So she also has kind of a consultative basis with us, and helps us keep this experience going.
Look at that lobby. Wow. What an elegant, beautiful ship. As soon as you walk on to the ship, you can tell that you're in a different this is not a mass market cruise line. This is an elegant, upscale, amazing, beautiful ship with lots of elegant touches all around. We'll show you some beautiful pictures. This is their grand lounge. The thing I noticed when we boarded last time was as soon as I got on, I heard this violin playing, and I was thinking, oh, that's beautiful music coming through the speakers. No, it was a live trio on boarding day as you're boarding, playing beautiful, amazing, relaxing music. It's just, you can tell by the beauty of this that, I mean, this is a bar. And look how beautiful it is. There's a bar here. But yet you have people playing the piano, and that's where the string quartet was. Just an incredible area of the ship. And then there's the library. There's not going to be much time to read in the library on this one, but you'd be surprised how many people do take advantage of sitting in this beautiful, quiet area. And the shows are great. There's a theater in here. They're excellent performers, and they get lots of great reviews, right, Steve?
Yeah, and we've really this picture is just from one of our first voyages with the Vista. So this is probably maybe January of last year or January of maybe 2024. Yeah, I would say. And we've really invested even more money into our shows. So we're having even more entertainment on board. And as you mentioned, if our guests are not interested in going to the theater each and every evening, we do have those beautiful lounges spread out throughout the ship where you can get a wonderful cocktail with the live performers, the string quartet, if you will. It's just such a great experience.
And the theater's gorgeous too. Did you notice here in the photo, there's no walls really blocking your view most anywhere. So there's no pillars, no walls. It's just a beautiful, and you're probably looking at this thinking that's not a very big theater. Well, that's because it's not a very big ship. I mean, it's a great ship, but there's only 1,200 guests. So it's not like you're going to have 6,000 or anything like that. This is a very more intimate space to guest ratio ship. So
And I've
beautiful.
personally sat in those chairs too. So those nice purple velvet chairs, they're nice and wide. It feels different from other cruise lines I've been on. It's hard to explain, but it's super comfy, very luxurious.
And then, oh my gosh, Horizons, that's beautiful. That's the lounge up on the top deck where you can see out, and that's where you have the like welcome cocktail and tea time, right? And all of that.
Yeah, the afternoon tea session. It's become really popular amongst our guests. It's every afternoon around 4 o'clock. We have the afternoon tea sessions where there's freshly made finger food sandwiches, coffee, tea, desserts. And we'll have that special, just for you guys. We'll have like the gluten-free options in there.
Yes.
We also do trivia. It's just it's our observational deck lounge, forward facing, front of the ship with all the floor to ceiling windows. Nice bar set up there. It's beautiful.
Even just to go up there and have coffee, I've done that a few times. It's beautiful to just sit up there as we're sailing.
Very relaxing.
And then there's the Aquamar Spa. So if you have a concierge or above class cabin, you have access to the Aquamar Spa area that includes this incredible thalassotherapy. Do you want to explain it? It's great. It's warm and salt water and relaxing.
I mean, you just can't go wrong. It's one of the best spas at sea. I mean, all the massage therapy treatments are amazing. You can get a beautiful facial. We also have the full salon. So if you want to get your hair done, while you're on board the ship, it's a breeze. All
And
the
of
staff
course,
is very helpful.
spa treatments and hair treatments are all extra. But if you have a concierge class cabin or above, you can access this area that has the kind of a private deck, pool deck, as well as private hot tubs and this private thalassotherapy area. So
Correct.
very relaxing, very beautiful part of the ship.
Yeah, the private concierge level spa terrace is amazing. Long rectangular pool with cascading waterfalls. Very private, chic experience. It's different.
Yes.
Oh, that's it. That's it pictured on the bottom there. That's
Yes. And views from there are incredible too.
very, very nice views.
Yeah,
Very
very,
quiet.
very pretty.
The artist loft. I mean, you can take some wonderful artwork classes, purchase the beautiful artwork on board. You know, not a lot for kids on Oceania cruises, unfortunately. This is more of an adult cruise. Kids would be allowed, but there's just really nothing for kids to do. We have the casinos on board, the artist loft. I mean, we're probably going to talk about it soon here, but the full culinary center on board. We just have wonderful activities for adults, but not too much for kids.
And I was surprised when I boarded this artist loft, like you have artists in residence there, right?
Yes. Yeah, and almost all of our voyages will have artists staying on the ship.
And they do free classes, free art classes, and you just
Correct.
show up, or maybe you make reservations ahead of time, but then you're able to do this artwork for free with the artist in residency. And then, of course, you can take your stuff if you want, but you can buy the art that's on board the ship too, the
That's
art
right.
in the art studio. Yeah,
Yeah.
very unique, very cool.
Very good experience. Yeah.
And this one, Maureen, I'm going to let you talk about this one because this is going to be pretty crazy.
So obviously we all live this and cook this. So what better opportunity to use this beautiful culinary center for gluten-free cooking classes? So we will be offering in our October cruise this year as well, dedicated gluten-free cooking classes. And what's so exciting, because we do these on our other ships, but just because of, safety rules and things like that, you're not able to consume the food. But this time, because as you can see those individual stations, you'll actually be preparing it yourself, but you get to eat it, which is, especially like nothing like cooking all of this and not being able to eat it at the end. So you'll be able to actually enjoy that. And we've got some fun plans, hopefully to maybe complement as a dinner one night with some wine and things like that. Those plans are in the works, but we're definitely going to, again, have opportunities to participate just like all the other guests would get to, but this way it's just gluten-free. So yes, I was able to, there's a picture later on in the slideshow. I was able to meet one of the chefs who ran this, and just to see their excitement over this, like making things gluten-free and the challenge. And I think, it goes back to, I say this a lot, but it's just so very refreshing to actually watch people want to be a part of this and be excited about it, as opposed to the traditional, I think, emotions we come to know sometimes out in public in restaurants. So they're really, really excited to offer this to our guests. So yes, we'll be doing this on board.
And there is a cost to it, but it's definitely it's because there's only 24 spaces, and so there is a cost.
Such
Um,
a wonderful experience, though.
yes,
Chef Catherine Kelly, you've already worked with her, spoken with her on the phone multiple times. She's amazing. I mean, she actually, I don't want to get too far into it, but she already had a big business. She is very wealthy. She doesn't even need to be doing this job, but out of the passion of just cooking and teaching these culinary classes, she continues to do this, which is amazing.
that's
Um,
all.
and those culinary classes sell out. So, I mean, this is definitely a great opportunity for our group. She also kind of changed things up a little bit. She now incorporates a welcome a glass of champagne with the group before you start your culinary class. So that's also very nice. And this picture here, I mean, this is the famous Founders Bar, very popular. We've actually already had to expand it. It's become so popular on board, pretty close to the casino. I've had the pleasure of having one of my new favorite cocktails. I think I told you this story, Connie. I'm pretty sure. It's a cocktail called the Benevolent Dictator. And it's funny, it actually comes from one of our founding fathers named Bob Binder. So he has a winery in California called Silver Trident. We take his red blend and we freeze it into a ball and we mix it with a special bourbon, which I thought was so strange, but it was actually delicious. And they put it into the glass enclosed box and they fill it up with the hickory smoke. It's just a great, great experience. Like all the mixology is just super fascinating. It's really interesting to see them, all the bartenders do that.
That's great. Yes, this is a very popular spot, and of course the casino's there. It's small, but there's plenty of, if you like to play, there's plenty of games available. The pool deck. Wow. The thing I notice about Oceania when I walk on board and see the pool deck is, do you see how all those chairs are covered? So first of all, they're very cushioned. They're very comfy. They have a padding on them already, but they already have the towels on them too. So there's a chair cover. Every chair is covered, and then there's towels already there. So you don't have to worry about checking out or checking in pool towels or anything like that. It's all set up ready for you to go. There's some areas in the sun, there's some areas in the shade. So just a gorgeous pool deck, and a place that even when it's chilly out, the hot tubs are great. So
And it's just nice, it's just it's an elevated level of experience with Oceania Cruises. You're not having, you hear about some of these horror stories where guests are fighting for a lounge chair. You're not having to like fight for a lounge chair with us. Everybody's going to have a wonderful lounge chair to use. Oh, this next slide, the sports deck, that 18-hole putt-putt course, phenomenal. A great area where you can practice your golf swing. And we do have the dual tennis courts, which can now be converted into pickleball. It's very popular amongst the guests. Just some extra guest, onboard activities. And oh, and I love the neutral color tones in some of our suites on board.
yes, and they're well equipped, lots of amenities, beautiful towels, uh, plush pillows, just gorgeous cabins. From these are the concierge cabins that come with access to the Aquamar spa deck out there that we showed you with the hot tubs in that deck. Well appointed, beautiful luxury. It just feels amazing. If you get a concierge cabin, you get to go to the concierge lounge, which has a concierge available to help you, with any kind of shore excursion questions or anything, which is wonderful. And then there's the regular veranda staterooms that look at that gorgeous view. You have a private veranda that you can step outside and, have little chairs out there and enjoy the ocean breeze. But there's all kinds of cabins on board. So there's from the smallest to the largest suites. So those will all be on our website. Maureen, you want to talk about food?
Sure. I love talking about gluten-free food. So as you can see here, and as we've covered a bit in depth, but just so you can see it all in one place, Breakfast, lunch, and dinner will be offered in Jack's, but as we said, the menus will be rotating. So, we get all of what the rest of the ship is getting just in one dedicated safe space. Room service, which is such a treat, will be offered in the complete menu, but again, coming from our dedicated galley. So those beautiful verandas you're able to take advantage of, and just, if you just want to have breakfast in your room, you're able to do so. We will have, in the quick service venues, we will have gluten-free items available. Obviously, those of you who are not comfortable consuming food in shared spaces, but know that those precautions that we have known to operate under will be reviewed in depth and stored separately. Changing of gloves, all of those things will take place in our trainings beforehand, but we will have gluten-free items that will be coming from our dedicated galley that will be transported in a secure manner up to these venues, and those will be available for our guests. Again, as we said, the hors d'oeuvres, being able to be at like the captain's gala and having this beautiful cart roll around and know that there's gluten-free hors d'oeuvres available. It's just, I don't know, inclusive. That's the word that comes to my mind. It's just one of those things that's just really a breath of fresh air to be able to participate in these traditional events that normally you have to say, oh, wait, no, thank you. And to-go options. So again, for long excursions, we'll be able to create lunches to go, so you can, nothing will really have to hold you back from, booking those excursions that you want to see. So you're not constantly thinking about, what am I going to eat my next meal? So that is an emotion we want to take away, and give you that opportunity to fully focus on vacation. So more food options than you can probably imagine. I did see the question about the grill side. The grill, that will be similar to how I just described it. There will be, gluten-free buns and things like that there, knowing that there is gluten in that outside environment, if that's not something you're comfortable doing. But again, precautions and training will take place to ensure cross contact is prevented. So yes.
And they're also, I don't think we touched on this as much, but in our dedicated gluten-free restaurant, we'll have quick service items in our dedicated gluten-free area too. So like a quick buffet or quick something, if you want to come in and just grab something quick, you can do that too. All right. What if I have additional allergies or additional dietary restrictions?
I saw that question a bit too. We have covered this. Obviously, we know many of, there's additional dairy just with comorbidities with celiac disease. So we're familiar with this. We have prepped the team. They are up to the challenge. So I think what would probably happen, you're going to talk directly to a culinary member, and they would definitely be able to modify to ensure your, obviously gluten is already taken care of, but any additional dietary restrictions can be managed. So yes. So onboard Celiac Cruise specific activities, those of you who have sailed with us before know that education is a big piece of this. What we want to make sure that maybe you walk away from, this experience feeling a little bit better about your day-to-day management of gluten-free living. So we will have some opportunities. Should you want them, it's your vacation. You choose to do whatever you want with it, but it's always important to us to provide that. So there will be some education sessions, kind of informal, casual. Obviously, we will have some activities to support our Cruising for a Cause initiative with the Celiac Disease Foundation. To date, we have fed approximately 700 plus food insecure families across the country from these activities. As many of us know, the gluten-free diet is a little expensive, a little being understated there, but so many families are not able to afford gluten-free food, so they are feeding their families gluten-containing food. So we have collectively identified these issues with the Celiac Disease Foundation, and we have onboard activities to be able to help support these families by delivering food to their doorsteps. So we will make sure we incorporate some of those activities. Sometimes they're hangouts, they're happy hours, there's The gluten-free culinary class will actually be one of those activities that we mentioned earlier. But we have meet and greets just so people can hang out, get a chance to meet each other. We all have something in common, regardless of where you fall in this gluten-free place. But it's something that, repetitively our guests have said they love having the chance to meet other people living the same day to day. We'll have gluten-free food explorations in ports of call. I mentioned that in the beginning. So, kind of discussing possibly having some small little gluten-free tours, should you want to do that. And some of the places that we know are very, very gluten-free heavy. And then coffee and conversations. So again, the meet and greets, but more casual, so people have a chance to just connect.
So that was a lot in just a few minutes, but I think we probably have some Q&A, some questions.
All right. Let's see. And again, if you have questions, go ahead and put them in the Q&A. Many of you have already, but if they come up. And then also, fret not, if you are watching this recorded, feel free to email any questions that we do not cover to info@celiaccruise.com. And they will be able to get back to you on those specific questions. Someone did ask earlier, I think, Stephen, you covered this, how families attend Oceania is usually more adults, or is this adults only?
Yeah, I mean it is usually typically adults. I mean, you'd really only see kids on Oceania cruises, maybe if it was an Alaskan voyage, for example. A lot of the grandparents like to bring the whole family to Alaska. But it's very rare. I mean, it's very rare just because there's literally nothing for kids to do. I mean, you'd be surprised in this day and age, a lot of kids can bring technology with them on board or their iPad if you will, but it's just rare.
And I've been on a couple of cruises. The ones that I've seen were well traveled. So it was children who are used to traveling all over the world who don't necessarily have to need to be entertained. These are children that are well traveled, well spoken, and they weren't any trouble at all, the ones that I saw. And there was very few. I would think it would be kind of similar to, a river cruise experience in terms of like that. So.
Will this cruise include plentiful regular gluten items as well? So I think we touched on that a bit. Not in our dedicated restaurant in galley. That is set to be dedicated gluten-free, so there will not be any gluten in that venue. For those of you who have, others traveling with you who would prefer to have gluten, they're welcome to do whatever they need to once they leave our dedicated spaces. Many people are sometimes surprised though, and I think especially with what we've known and what we've sampled with some of these culinary trials, you may not know the difference. So I encourage those who, have that gluten thing in their head to maybe give it a try, and you might be pleasantly surprised. So again, nothing in the dedicated spaces, but outside, if you choose to consume, that's your business. Will the ship offer organized excursions, age limits to any tours and excursions?
Well, we of course have the shore excursions available to choose from. We put all of the guidelines next to all the specific tours you're looking into. There's not necessarily, I don't think I've ever seen an age limit per se, but there is a level of strenuous activity involved with some of the tours, and we'll let you know how strenuous the tour could be depending on how much walking there might be, or if there's a lot of cobblestone to walk on. We always try to look out for our guests.
And the shore excursions, you purchase right from Oceania's website. And once you're booked, we'll give you access to that so that you can go ahead and start reserving those. And you can always change your mind and move them around and cancel one and get a different one. But in my experience, some of those sell out pretty quickly, especially the most popular ones. So the sooner you book, the sooner you can start purchasing your shore excursions.
Absolutely correct. Yeah, some of those tours do become waitlisted or sold out because, we just don't have all the room for all the guests to do every single tour. So they will be available at 1 year prior to sailing, which is right around the corner. So, I mean, try and book as soon as you can.
How do you handle other allergies on top of celiac? So we covered that a bit, but just to restate it, the culinary team is well aware that we are arriving with some additional allergens. Obviously, the gluten has already been taken care of, but any additional modifications, they will have you communicate those directly to your culinary team, and they will modify what they can. Well, can they prepare gluten-free pastries for celiac guests at the barista? So I mentioned that, again, that's a venue that is outside of our dedicated space. So, obviously all precautions will be taken in place to separate storage, changing of gloves, but there will be things prepared in our galley that are transported to and have the opportunity for our guests to be able to enjoy things in the barista.
Yeah,
Bakery.
we've had so many meetings between our food and beverage team. I mean, you, me, and Connie, this whole time, Maureen, we've been talking about tons of different options just like that, like the desserts and the pastries and whatnot from baristas. We will hopefully have that. I mean, that's what we discussed recently. So
Yes. Will the art loft and cooking classes be open during the Celiac Cruise? Yes, they will, and available for us with gluten-free cooking classes, which, as you can tell, I'm a bit excited about. How many passenger slots are available on this cruise?
So there's a total of 1,200 guests, and our group will be limited to about 130.
All right. So it's at as many available in that venue as we discussed. That's kind of how our numbers are set. Is the pool heated?
it is.
Yes, it is.
Some cruises, the pool is not heated. It really, I can't make that guarantee, but in almost all cases, I'd say close to 90% of the time we have the heated pool going and functioning.
Are the bars gluten-free or will they just be taking precautions? As I mentioned, we do that pre-cruise sale and check every single label, every single ingredient, and will be checked. And we will obviously share that information with our guests. If there is anything that is not safe or off limits for our guests, you will definitely be informed. So that's part of the process of what we do before anyone even steps on board. And as we mentioned, we will have truly gluten-free beer. Golden Colorado, Holidaily will be supplying our beer, and they are, not gluten removed. They are gluten-free ingredients only. So they'll be on board for us. And is there a charge for room service?
Nope, no charge for room service, and you can get day or night room service.
Wow, that's exciting. What is the level of dress on board, especially for dinner?
Steve, I'll let you take that one.
Yeah, I mean, we're not pretentious here at Oceania Cruises by any means, and we did recently actually come out with another, essentially like a guideline list of how we prefer our guests to dress on board, and it's actually a little bit more relaxed. Previously, in the specialty dining venues, for example, we wouldn't allow jeans, but now we will allow dress jeans. So, jeans preferably without holes in them, for example. No, we don't really prefer open-toed sandals if they're like beach attire. You can wear nice dressy sandals. But throughout the day, you're welcome to wear what you'd like as far as, shorts go, t-shirt, sandals, just when you're dining in Jacques, which is going to be our designated kitchen for dinner in the evening, that's when we would ask, to be a little more dressy than usual. But again, we're not pretentious here at Oceania.
Is there a workout room with weights, treadmill, etc.?
Yes, and I love it. It's a fantastic gymnasium. If you, we will probably also have some food options from the Aquamar Kitchen, which is our wellness inspired indulgence, if you will. You can get like a nice organic power bowl. We do have smoothies. Now, I mean, we're gonna have to discuss. I'm not 100% sure how that's working as far as keeping everything completely gluten-free, but I'm sure we'll work out those kinks as soon as we can. We're definitely going to explore these options with this upcoming voyage in October.
What is the cost and is it more for single occupancy?
All of our prices are listed on our website, celiaccruise.com. And then you click on 2026 and you'll see the sailing there in October. So it depends there, what cabins are still available. If there's room on the ship, if there's any cabins available on the ship, you can book them into our group. But our group does fill when we get to 130, and I believe we're about 60% full already. So I would suggest that if you're interested to get booked quickly.
Yeah, this is an extremely popular cruise with Oceania. Anything that revolves around fall foliage is very popular and does sell out pretty quickly.
A few questions. Do I need to book through Celiac Cruise to get these benefits, or can I use my regular agent?
Yes, you have to book through Celiac Cruise because we have purchased the dining room for the week. And so we know exactly how many people are booked for our dining room. And once it's full, we'll start a waiting list like we did for this year. So that's how we have to keep exact counts. And so,
Plus, the group contract is under celiac. I mean,
yes.
the only way.
Yes. Will there be more cruises in 2026, or is this the only one?
This is the only one for 2026 for Celiac Cruise. We do have one that's coming up in October of this year, so you'll be able to watch it live as we sail. But for 2026, this is the only Celiac Cruise for Oceania. Sorry, we have lots of cruises in 2026. There's 12 of them, but yes.
Yes. Are there any medical facilities on board?
There are. There's certainly medical facilities, and we have an onboard doctor and staff team. Now, I don't know, we can't perform like surgery on board, for example. We do. I don't know how you guys are working with insurance, Connie, but we do always recommend insurance when you're traveling. I mean, it has been cases where guests have had to have the helicopter come and airboard them off the ship because we can't perform surgery on board, for example. But if you need, basic pharmaceutical medicine like a Tylenol, for example, you can easily go to the ship staff and they can help you, or Dramamine if you're feeling seasick at all. But we have some of the best stabilizer technology in the industry. I have not personally ever been seasick on Oceania cruises.
We do always highly recommend travel insurance. It's so heartbreaking when somebody emails and they have to cancel and they're like, I forgot to get insurance, or we decided not to get insurance, but, all of a sudden I have this event, or we've had this thing happen, or I've had this diagnosis happen, or I fell and broke my foot and I can't walk, or I'm going to need surgery or whatever. And it's just heartbreaking because once you pay, you're going. And if you, for some reason, don't go, you lose all your money. So that's why travel insurance is so important for cancellation purposes, but also for medical purposes, because while you're traveling on board an international vessel, typically your medical plan from your company doesn't work out of the country, or Medicaid or Medicare, or any of those policies don't work out of the country. So the medical coverage is in itself just incredible. So we always send a quote, and for US citizens, we always highly recommend it. And for citizens of other countries, we recommend that you get travel insurance from your local provider in your country.
Are any excursions included in the price of the cruise?
No excursions are included, but they do offer discounts if you purchase more than a handful of them, and you'll see those as you begin to book them.
Yeah, when we get to 1 year prior to sailing, typically the deal we usually do is if you book 5 tours, you get a 25% discount. I can't make that guarantee just yet for this voyage because we're not at a year prior yet. But I believe they'll do something very similar to that extent.
Someone just asked the specifics because they joined late. So October 6th through the 17th, sailing from New York down to Montreal. And again, if you want to look at the specific itinerary, you can check out our website at celiaccruise.com. We have all the details there of where we're going.
And it is New York, like right in Manhattan. I mean, you're looking right at the tall buildings, right ported right into the city. It's right there. So it's not, it's beautiful sailing from there.
Can we choose our stateroom when we book with Celiac Cruise? Our stateroom location matters to us.
Yes, most times you can. Some of the cabins might already be on what they call a guarantee status, which means they can't, you don't get to pick your cabin, but you're guaranteed to have a specific cabin type or better. So when you fill out your form, there is an area for the staff. It says notes to staff. And you can put in there, I would like midship, or I would like high floor or low floor or whatever, and we can send you some options.
Someone said, how can this be 60% booked? I got the email yesterday. We actually released this cruise back in March or
March.
April. Yeah. So
Yeah.
what we do with Celiac Cruise, we release the majority the year so people have the ability to choose. So yes, so the cruise, all of our cruises for 2026 were released in March. So that is why. I know this is a dumb question. Never any dumb questions, but I've never cruised. Is the price stated under your world included the price per stateroom or per person in that stateroom?
Those are per person prices. And all cabins are based on two people in the cabin. So unless happens to be a solo cabin, but most cruise cabins are all based on two. So if you have more than two, then we would have to get you a quote for what the third person price would be. But those are per person prices plus the tax that we add.
Someone wants to know when 2027 will be announced.
Soon, very soon, hopefully. We usually try to announce our whole year at one time, like we did this past March, so that everybody can see the entire year at the same time. But, it could be that we might have something sooner. Once this one fills, then I'm sure we'll go ahead and start thinking about 2027. One of the reasons why we have to wait until March of next year typically is because our large partner, Royal Caribbean, that is our family brand, they roll their cruises out in segments and they don't get everything announced until about that time. So in order to be able to provide you with the entire snapshot of the year so that you can make your choices as to which ones, plural, you want to go on, then we try to not put them out here and there. We try to put the whole year out at one time.
Very good. All right. It seems that, here's a good question. We don't drink. We would not use the alcohol package. Can we opt out?
You just don't have to worry about it. I mean, it's included already as part of the group amenities.
It doesn't cost anything. It's included already. So you can always get sodas and, specialty coffees and things like that, everything will be included. Yeah.
All the regular stuff, still in sparkling water, like you said, specialty coffee, that's all included. We didn't increase the pricing to include the beverage package for this group. We kept the prices as they were and just included it just because, Connie brings us a great deal of business. We love working with her. And Maureen too. So
All right. Any other questions?
Sorry, I muted myself. Why is the pricing on the New England route so much higher than Alaska, Greece? It's more. Good question.
I didn't want to kind of scare guests off with that question and an answer for that question, but it's kind of, as I mentioned, this is a very popular trip with Oceania. It's going to be a little bit more expensive due to that reason. Alaska, we sell a lot of, I think, what was the other places they mentioned? Caribbean, maybe. We sell a lot of Caribbean. We sell a lot of Mediterranean, so we can offer better deals. There's only a handful of voyages that do our fall foliage trips from New York to Montreal, for example. So that is why the prices are a little bit higher than the usual sailings with Oceania.
All right. Is that it? Well, thank you so much everyone for joining us. Check out celiaccruise.com. There you will find the pricing, the availability. We'll try to keep that availability current as much as possible. There's a link there to click to pre-register. If you're a cabin for two, then the prices are shown on the website. And once you click to register, it'll take you to a page to pay your deposit, and then we'll send you a confirmation. Unless you specifically asked about a cabin number or something, we'll send you a confirmation and insurance credit. It's very easy to get booked. So, any closing remarks, Steve or Maureen?
Question did just ask about, sorry, I want to make sure I get everybody's questions when you're here. Just a question about children. Again, my granddaughter is celiac, and I want to know if it's a good cruise for her. I appreciate that. Obviously, this began because of a little boy named Peter, who is my son's family important. Which is why we do offer a series of cruise partners. We have many cruises with Royal Caribbean through the year, and I have 3 kids. And those of you who have sailed with me on rivers as well as this, I don't bring my kids, primarily because I don't want. I'm working, yes, but also it's just an environment. It kind of sets them up as a challenge. There's not a lot for them to do. So, and I know that Stephen, you referenced the technology, and my poor children, if we were sailing through wherever and I found them on an iPad, they probably would hear it from me. So I think that's kind of part of it. I think it's hard in those environments because there isn't a lot for them to do unless you have a child who is, just very, very, very into, the different things, different places, seeing culture and things like that. So obviously there are exceptions, but I think for the whole, the other vendors that we work with might be more appropriate for kids. How's that? Honest.
But we do have lots of families sailing with us, and some sailing this year. So like we said, it depends on the child. And if they are going to be happy just being enjoying the cruise, then well-traveled, I think great. So we want you to it's your vacation. We want you to be happy. And that's kind of like how with the dress code, right? I mean, it's going to be it's your vacation, right?
Very true. Very true. Well, thank you everyone for joining us again. I'm sure you'll think of possibly questions after the fact. Feel free to email them to info@celiaccruise.com. Additional details, you can head over to celiaccruise.com for all the details on this amazing sailing. And Stephen, thank you for taking time out of your Wednesday afternoon to join us and just kind of give us the beauty of what this experience will be like. So
thank you for having me.
Of course. Well, we hope to see many of you next fall, if not before. And everyone have an amazing rest of the summer and week.
Thanks. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.